everybody. Welcome to Jubilee Circle. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here in the building, and thank you for being out there in YouTube land. We are happy however you have joined us this morning.
Oh.
Let's sing a song.
Have you been alright through all those lonely, 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 lonely nights? That's what I'd say. I'd tell you everything if you'd pick up that telephone. Yeah. Hey, how you feeling? Are you still the same? Don't you realize the things we did were all for real, not a dream? I just can't believe they've all faded out of you. Love you meaning gonna see it through. And I wonder why the little things you're planning coming true. Oh, telephone line, give me some time. I'm living in twilight. Oh, telephone line, give me some time. Just let it ring a little longer, longer, longer. Oh, I'll just sit tight through the shadows of the night. Let it ring forevermore. Love you needing gonna see it through. And I wonder why the little things you're planning coming true. Oh, telephone line, give me some time. I'm living in twilight. Oh, telephone line, give me some time.
The fact that Michael could find that ringing thing on the synthesizer over there, That's what made that song everything we needed it to be. All right, so welcome again to Jubilee Circle. And anyone in their 20s are not going to really understand the songs today. Because there's things about operators and, trying to help you connect. There's a mention of a dime.
And
Nobody's
going to
get those.
ride back on the rotary?
Yeah. So, rotary, what the world? All right. So we're harking back to, all of our time. When everybody who leads your congregation is in their 50s and 60s. Here we are.
And 70 sometimes.
No, in the band, I said. Everybody in the band is this is what we do. That's right. So today, welcome. We are beginning our VIA Negativa theme of the Tao of Darkness. So happy fall. Oh my gosh. I'm so happy.
We made it through summer.
Fall is here, yes. And so we're going to explore the Tao of Darkness in our Negativa time. In the Tao Te Ching, darkness represents the indiscernibility of life. So when we bring curiosity and awareness to the things that we perceive as mysteries, we can begin to see how the holy moves in, through, and around us to help us discover that inner light that we have always had. And so the Tao Te Ching opens with this idea that darkness is the gateway to all understanding, it says. From it arises all mystery and manifestations, the Tao tells us. Even the Hebrew scriptures agree that darkness existed before light. And it is out of this seeming nothingness that everything has arisen. A Course in Miracles tells us that our function in this bodily world is to bring the perceived darkness inside to the light. It acknowledges that in this world of form, we do begin in darkness. We begin in the darkness of the womb before we're born, the darkness of ignorance before we learn our letters and our words, the darkness of inexperience before we learn skills, the darkness of fear and anxiety before we step out in faith and see what gift we have to offer and bring into the world. Darkness, though, jubilants, it's only a part of this world. Because where we come from, the mind of God that we have never truly left, is made only of light. So the Tao of Darkness invites us to contemplate this, to be willing to acknowledge the truth that our mind is truly only made of light, but our ego tries to shroud it in darkness. It is the realization of our original light, that original blessing, that leads our darkness into this light. And we become who we truly are, the light of the world. A Course in Miracles says in chapter 7, when a mind has only light, it knows only light. Its own radiance shines all around it and extends out into the darkness of other minds, transforming them into majesty. The majesty of God is there for you to recognize and appreciate and know, and recognizing the majesty of God as your holy sibling is to accept your own inheritance. And this, jubilance, is the key. Seeing the light of love everywhere we look. So all we can think to say when we see that light in ourselves and others is, oh yeah. Please rise as you're able. And we begin every Jubilee Circle in the same fashion. We remember the 4 elements, the air and the water and the earth and the fire. And we burn sage as a reminder that this is a safe and sacred time, and it is time to set our intentions, to set our personal intentions for the love that we want to be and bring out into the world, and to set an intention for the world, that our love spilling out into it actually changes things and makes a difference. And we orient ourselves in this sacred time and space by calling the 4 directions. So I invite you to turn and face the east. Holy One, with the start of each new day, help us to recognize your presence in every moment, especially in the moments that may appear to be ugly or dull or full of despair. Help us to realize that you are always in, through, and around us, waiting to dawn on us like the sunrise. Holy One, open our eyes so that we may see you in every moment. Quarter turn to the right and we face the south. As the heat from the south begins to give way to the coolness of the fall, blow through our lives, Holy One, like a refreshing breeze. Renew our spirit and our strength as we seek the willingness that we need to go deeper within to hear your still small voice. Give us the knowledge, Holy One, that you are always in, through, and around us, sustaining us every moment. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the west. When this day draws to a close, Holy One, let us remember to give thanks and to let go of all of the frustrations that might have plagued us, to let go of all of the anxieties that may threaten to overtake us, to let go of all the fear that may grip us. Help us to lay our burdens down and trust you to take them up, wrap them in your spirit, in, through, and around us, so they become lighter than air. Quarter turn to the right, we face the north. Some days, Holy One, what we need most is confidence, that reassurance that we're on the right path. And so often we see a path covered in weeds. We're reluctant to strike out and make a new way in the world. Infuse us, Holy One, with the faith we need to take a step down a new road, one that may be less traveled, so we can blaze a trail of mystery and awe for others to follow. Wrap your spirit in, through, and around us as we begin each new journey. And as we turn back toward the center, you'll find yourself surrounded by those who are willing to see the world anew and those who may still be in resistance to a new vision. But I invite you in this safe and sacred time and space to conjure up just a little willingness, a mustard seed-sized faith to just allow a miracle, allow that change in perception to occur. Because when we are willing to have our perception of this world change from the sights of this bodily illusion to the reality of the spirit, that will indeed make us all want to say, oh yeah. All right. Remain standing. Again, we have another old-timey phone song. And if you are watching us on that newfangled video live stream thing, you can go to our website at jubileecircle.com and download today's bulletin. And for the rest of you, you have the bulletin and the lyrics in front of you. And I invite you during this song to greet one another and say good morning.
And give
Exactly.
each other a dime.
Go. Are you ready? We're ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Operator, oh, could you help me place this call? See, the number on the matchbook is old and faded. She's living in LA with my best old ex-friend Ray, a guy she said she knew well and sometimes hated. Isn't that the way they say it goes? Boys, let's forget all that and give me the number if you can find it, so I can call just to tell them I'm fine and to show I will come to glow. I've learned to take it well. I only wish my words could just convince myself that it just wasn't real, but that's not the way it feels. Operator, oh, could you help me place this call? 'Cause I can't read the number that you just gave me. There's something in my eyes, you know it happens every time. I think about the love that I thought would save me. Isn't that the way they say it goes? Well, let's forget all that and give me the number if you can find it, so I can call just to tell them I'm fine and to show I will come to glow. I learned to take it well. I It's our tribute to Jim Croce there.
We got a fan out there.
Yeah, and a phone booth, and
Thank
phone
you.
booths, all
And
sorts of things that
you
don't
can
exist
deposit
anymore.
that dime in our collection plate. No.
So some of you might not understand. At some point, there were phone booths, and it cost a dime to make a phone call. Right, long distance was extra, right. All right. So good morning, everybody. Welcome again to Jubilee Circle. We're so glad to have you here this morning. We are an inclusive, progressive, interfaith community here in Columbia, South Carolina, broadcasting around the world. And we teach the timeless common wisdom of love and unity that we find in all mainstream religions and metaphysical philosophies, mysticism, and inspired secular and religious writers and teachers throughout the ages. We use popular music, some dated, but teachings and weekly celebrations, educational and artistic events, and other community building activities, because we're trying to create a space here for everyone to experience transformation so then they can go out and be that transformation in the world. And we believe we're all here to expand our souls, to find a deeper meaning to life, to renew our commitment to love and peace and justice, learn how to love wastefully, and undergo a transformation from the inside out to discover how to live into our higher divine self. And we also recognize we're part of God's good creation. We're made out of stardust, but we're also made from love and joy. And we humans, we forget that. We come on into the world, we look around, we see people around us, and we think we're separate. And so then the judging starts on all the grievances, and we see people and go, oh, they're beautiful, they're ugly, they're good, they're bad, they're generous, they're stingy, they're loving, and they're just so somebody was going to help me there. Recalcitrant, obstreperous, whatever. But let us remember our true function here, Jubilants. It is to remember who we truly are. We are originally blessed. We are innocent. We have never left the mind of God, and we are to be here as the channel of love in the world, so everybody gets to say, oh yeah. All right. So coming up next week, we got a few announcements. We're going to use some music from the Talking Heads next week to explore the Tao of the future. And I don't say this out loud a lot, but I do take requests. This sermon is actually requested by Todd, because he's like, you talk about the present moment so much. Let's talk about the future. How do you go? What's the future? Okay, we're gonna get to that, and it's going to be something weird. So tune in next week. It's got the Talking Heads in it. It's going to be weird. All right. Coming up this month, we've got Friday, October 7th. We're going to do our movie night. We're going to watch What the Bleep Do We Know, starring Marlee Matlin, as a woman who finds herself moving away from her daily uninspired life into the uncertain world of the quantum field that is hidden behind what we consider to be our normal waking reality. So it's a very much a metaphysical type of movie to watch. And so bring some snacks, bring a beverage of your choice, and we'll lay on the couches over there and just enjoy a movie night together. Saturday, October 15th, we have not taken part in Pride for many years, but we're going to take part in the Columbia Pride Festival on Saturday. We're going to have a booth, and we need some volunteers to man and woman the booth throughout the day. So if you have some time and you want to come sit at the table for a couple of hours, we would love that. It would give the folks who are setting up and tearing down some break during the day. So just see me or any board member to volunteer.
Really good music at Pride this year.
Yeah? Okay, there's really good music at Pride this year, apparently. All right. Usually I look at it and go, I don't know who these people are. Okay, whatever. Because I'm old. Tamara, yes?
We can go back to October 8th for just a minute.
Do you want to come and say it into the microphone so folks out here can hear?
Usually I'm loud.
That's, yeah, well. Yeah.
On October 8th, we're having another Poetry Trails
Okay,
event.
cool.
Now, but this one you have to travel a little bit because we're going to be at Huntington Beach State Park and Murrells Inlet. But it'll be really wonderful. And there's also, I think that night, there's some kind of 70s band concert thing going on.
All right.
So-
Now you're speaking my language.
Yes. Anyway, join us if you can. 10 o'clock Saturday.
All right. At Huntington Beach State Park? All right. Beautiful. Any other announcements? Anything else I'm missing? We're gathering together. The band said they could do it, so I'll announce it. We're going to have a Halloween party on Friday, October 28th. Oh, costume party, a Halloween costume party. I thought Halloween meant costume party, but okay. For some people have to be specific. I go as the same thing every year. I just dress as a dyke every year.
Also, I have Halloween lights in the car at Davidson.
Oh, okay, good. We have Halloween lights, so we'll be stringing up Halloween lights. Yeah. In 2019, we had a really big, wonderful Halloween party, and frickin' COVID. For the past couple of years, we haven't been able to have one. So, God, please come. Let's dance. Let's have a good time. Let's have a party. We'll bring some snacks, and everybody brings snacks, and we'll just snack on whatever arrives. How about that? Everybody bring snacks. Everybody bring drinks, and let's just have a good time. It'll just be a straight-up party. There's no any other agenda going on. Let's just come together and have a good time. All right. Start about 7. Does that sound good? 7? 6:30, 7? 7. Right, we gotta have time to get our costumes on. I do have a special costume this year. It's gonna be fun. Right, yeah, Little Mermaid. Keep dreaming there, Keith, keep dreaming. Any other announcements? Anything I'm missing? All right, here we go. Hear these wise and holy words. Hang on, it's all do it yourself today. Hang on. Everybody abandon me. Whoops. And there goes that. That'll be down there if we need it. It was a mic drop moment, wasn't it? Hear these wise and holy words. From the Law of Light by Lars Mule. It's pretty impossible to go through life without being the cause of pain to other people, even when we try very hard not to be. When we are stressed and rushing around, we are seldom aware that our stress may result in both death and mutilation. We come into the world screaming. We go through it making a great noise, only to leave behind a chaotic mess when we leave it. Everything that exists is part of a divine education that permeates the universe. And this is a truth that mankind seldom acknowledges. It means that we all experience being both victim and executioner. Eventually, when we begin to understand the law of light, mankind as a whole will be stirred up to such an extent that it will open its heart and begin to read between the lines in the book of life. A person who lives entirely in the outer world without any connection to his or her inner life always ends up as a victim of loneliness and separation. The purpose of working with spiritual matters is to create a connection between the planes of consciousness, from the highest to the lowest, right down to the level of the individual cell. From Laurie Scheck's poem, To Softness. Under junk heaps and stripped and burning cars, and bombed out buildings, under iron and tin and plastic, under U.S. Steel and Coca-Cola, beneath underpass and overpass, under timetables, profitability, summits, margins of error and cuts, under for your own good and in our own best interest, under front runner, leveraged buyouts, arms deals, State of the Union and rates of exchange, and the bridge repainted silver to cover all the black graffitied hearts and birds and names. It must be there like an ash heap, but alive, a half-formed thought, throbbing its slow pulse behind the lips, a softness, a tenderness, a hand turning pages throughout the night in a bare room, eyes at the window, breath at the door, something in need of protection, something capable of feeling harm. These are wise and holy words. Thanks be to the holy. All creation is holy word. All creation speaks volumes of the holy. Hallelujah. All right. I'm going to go ahead and turn that microphone off. I'm going to go ahead and introduce Tamara and let her come up. And she is the president of the Poetry Society of South Carolina, and she has spoken to us before on the subject of her father, and I think we're going to continue that story today. All right. It's a long story. So come on, do you want to wear this, or do you want to speak it?
I tried to wear one. Maybe I should try it.
You could try it.
Do it for me. You set me up. Okay. It's time for me to try new things, right?
It's like putting the crown on.
It is.
Goes over your ear there.
Hello?
Yeah, I turned you off just so I could have it, so nobody. Okay, I got to hang it on you somewhere.
Okay. Oh, I'm on.
Yeah.
This is nice. I'm free.
Beth has these same pants.
I know, she told me. We both bought four pair of the different pants at Walmart.
All right, there you go. You're on.
Thank you. This is kind of cool. I do feel free.
Isn't it nice?
Why did I hesitate? Well, I am the president of the Poetry Society. Today's poetry is wonderful, but it's from childhood, so let's just have a few lines to get us started. Oh, the places you'll go. Congratulations, today is your day. You're off to great places. You're off and away. You have brains in your head. You have feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what to know, and you are the guy who'll decide where to go. You'll look up and down streets, look them over with care. About some, you'll say, I don't choose to go there. With your head full of brains and your shoes full of feet, you're too smart to go down any not-so-good street. And you may not find any you'll want to go down. In that case, of course, you'll head straight out of town. After Mom left Dad, he moved into a tiny trailer. So small, he says, that he could sit on the bed and pee in the toilet. He had a new job painting tractor trailers, and life resumed in the shape of drinking and working, and drinking and working. One night, when it was pouring rain and lightning, he heard a knock on the door. Somebody give me a loud thank you. There stood two men in suits, and one said, if there's anything you want in that car, you better get it, because I'm taking it. And I'll take your keys. I can't move this microphone around. Dad hadn't been able to make the payments. So that was the last time he saw the Chevelle. Until he was able to get another one, he had to ride to work with his supervisor or anyone else who was willing to take him. It was a lonely time. He tried to talk to Mom on the phone. Operator, make this call. Oh, I remember it. He called from a pool hall in Smyrna, Georgia. He was crying. And he said to Mom, Sylvia, I'm calling you with my last dime. And Mom said, you wasted it. Sylvia, I really want to talk to you, but I'm broke and I don't get paid till next week. And she said, tough. And then he asked to speak to me. And he said, I love you. And I said, okay. About 6 months in, he met an older woman that he wasn't really attracted to, but who got him out of the trailer and into her place for a while. That didn't work out, and he moved into the Lamar Motel in Marietta, which would be his home on and off for the next several years in between relationships. The Lamar Motel wasn't much of a home, but he had to make do. I gave everybody a worksheet. Do you have it? If you don't have it, grab one. There's some on the seats, and I have a few extra pens up here. See, Keith was trying to get out of it. And Beth, you got yours. Lee, you got yours. Everybody got one, Leslie? Okay, so I think the first question is, well, why don't you just give it to me? What's the first question on your sheet?
Call a time when you're looking for a home.
Yes. Okay. I just wanted to hear it from you. Okay. Do you remember a time when you were looking for a home? What was it like? What was the process like? I'll give you a couple of minutes to think about it. Jot some notes down. You were looking for a home.
So Dad's at the Lamar Motel. One time he was in a bar in Atlanta when a woman named Merdice invited him to the American Legion in Alpharetta, where a dance was held on weekend nights. The decision to go would affect his life forever because Merdice had a sister named Irene. Irene Hester was a divorced mother of 4 who had lived in the area all her life. Dad says, when she walked out and got in the car and gave me a shot of those legs, I was in love. They hit it off quickly and spent the whole night together. And in the morning, he said, Irene, I don't know how you feel about it, but I love you. He has loved her ever since, though their relationship has been tumultuous and on and off again. When they married for the first time, Dad was still legally married to Mom. But as he explains it, I was drinking then. This is his usual explanation for many things. He was working at the time for Jim Matthews, painting houses, and Irene worked at a dry cleaner's. They moved out in the country to an old house her family owned with her son Grady, 19, and daughter Carolyn, 14. The marriage only lasted about 7 months because she couldn't put up with his drinking and the meanness that often came with it, but she was a character herself. On weekends, they went to the Legion to dance. And I told you my dad loved to dance. She did too. Well, men swarmed around Irene, and she danced with whomever she pleased. She had more energy, Dad says, than any woman he'd ever known. And if he didn't feel like going out, she said she'd go without him. One night, his knees were killing him. He has bad arthritis that was just starting up at the time. And he was always going up and down ladders painting, and it was making the situation worse. He didn't want to go out, but he wasn't going to let her go to the Legion alone. By the end of the night, when they got home, he was nearly immobile, and she just left him in the car. He practically crawled up the steps, he told me, and she never looked back, and she didn't offer to help him. And when he told me this story, I'm sorry, but I laughed. Because Dad was finally getting the kind of treatment that he gave Mom. One time, Irene made a beautiful dinner, but they got into an argument, and he threw the dinner all over the floor. The next morning, she told him she was driving back to Marietta to the motel. She didn't have any trouble finding another man. I'll never forget the expression, I can find another loser by sundown. It was someone Dad knew, the other man. And he sometimes saw her go out with him. They never officially got divorced because they were never officially married, but considered themselves so. She still came to see me sometimes, he explains. He met another woman, someone he cared for, and for several months they had a good thing going, but he never could get Irene off his mind, and she had a habit of showing up at the wrong time. Once she came to the motel when Dad's girlfriend was there. He went outside and told her she needed to leave, and he had somebody else, but it wasn't long till she came back again when he was alone. The girlfriend caught them together, and that was over. He and Irene got married again. Mom got divorced in 1977, so maybe this time he could have been legally married. I don't know. Dad still had to deal with her, though, and her popularity. So one time she decided she wanted to go to another bar with some other guys, and she did, and Dad fought them. He got beaten up, but Irene went home with him. I've asked you on your worksheet some questions about, I think, who made your home a home? Right? What was the second question, and what was the third question on your worksheet? Okay, so we'll get to that. What was the third question? Yes, who made your house a home and who makes it now? After another year or so, Dad and Irene split up, and he returned to living at motels, at the Lamar, at the Blue Top. He started working for Randy Corley, and Irene married somebody else named Roy. Randy fired Dad several times but always hired him back because he was such a good painter. We went to dinner a few weeks ago with Randy Corley and his wife and their children, and we had another good laugh over how many times Randy had to fire Dad. And he would really mean it this time. He was going to fire him, but then Dad was such a good painter, he would take him back like the next day, almost every time. And Dad borrowed money from him all the time, too. So at the hotel, the Blue Top Hotel, he made a friend who could have gotten him in some really bad trouble. The guy stole coins from the laundromat. Everyone shared. And another time, he set fire to the motel. Dad woke up to the smell of smoke, ran outside and saw that the room next door was on fire. He managed to get in the room and pull the occupant out, but he said it was such a hot fire, the television had melted. Sometimes we have to go into the dark woods. Sometimes we have to walk into the fire to find our way eventually back to some kind of safe place, some kind of home. During this time, Dad had several other escapades that don't bear repeating here, but let's just say he was having a good time. His nights out at the bar were his favorite recreation besides women. Dad loves women. He will tell you, just as he tells me, I don't know why a man would go to a sporting event or do anything else when he could be with a woman instead. Sometimes, however, he got tangled up in a bad situation when he was out scouting around and drinking too much. One night he was talking to a woman at a bar, and the next thing he remembers, he was feeling really sick and strange. He went outside to get some air, found an air conditioner unit, and had laid back on it, just to get cool. When he was attacked by a group of men who beat him so badly he passed out. When he woke up, he crawled back into the bar for help. He had broken ribs and couldn't work for weeks. He told me, lucky for me, the East Indian owners of the motel, Mr. and Mrs. Patel, allowed him extra time to pay his rent. He needed help caring for himself, so he offered a homeless man who lived in the woods behind the motel a place to stay and a little bit of money in return for taking care of him, bringing him food, helping him get to the bathroom. Sometimes when he's depressed, even now, Dad will say, or when I'm angry, he'll say, well, I guess you just want me to go to the woods. And I've never really known where he means, if he means he'll go live like a homeless person or whether he will commit suicide. I guess I've never wanted clarification on it. I have felt suicidal myself at times. In fact, after my second marriage to Bury ended badly, I spent the next few years in an almost constant suicidal state. I really didn't want to die, but I really didn't know if I wanted to live, and I thought about it every single day for those 2 years. I went to the bar as often as possible and would just drink enough so I could get sleepy, because I have always had chronic insomnia problems. So I would just drink maybe 3 or 4 drinks, and I would get nice and sleepy, and then I'd go home, and I would sleep for maybe a few hours, because it doesn't work for long. And then I'm up wide awake again. But that's how I was kind of dealing with things. And I had a few brief encounters. I pretty much hated myself. But looking back on that marriage today, I can see that I really did not get what I was needing in that marriage. I didn't have a home. I was married to someone who was very, very sick. He was a severe alcoholic. And as a child of an alcoholic, it makes sense that I was choosing these kind of men because I was living out the same old idea that I could save them somehow. I needed to be needed. I needed something to fix. Maybe in doing so, I could have my father back and save him too. Remember, I told you I didn't see my father for a very long time, from when I was 7 till I was 25. So I kind of headed in that direction, I think, always looking to get him back. So I found a photograph of myself the other day from 2012, holding, of all things, a golden hen. My mother-in-law had chickens. I'm holding this big golden hen, and I am not smiling. I had gained a tremendous amount of weight. I felt terrible about myself. And I think I should look at that photograph often to remind me that the metaphorical hen of that relationship did not lay a golden egg. But I survived and began slowly building a new nest, a home I could really live in, a physical place and a spiritual place where David lives and the dogs live, and also at Jubilee. The other day I said to Beth, who was thanking me for something, "You gave me a second home here," I said. 6729 Two Notch Road is the physical address. But as you know, the church is not a building. To me, Jubilee offers hours of silence, contemplation, time to work, time to rest. It's a home when I'm alone with the mysterious Holy Spirit. And it's a home when I hear the door click and you all come streaming in, like brothers and sisters, with your smiles and your songs and other kinds of noisy interruption. I was an only child, so this whole sister and brother thing is still new. Together, though, we keep creating this home. And if my spiritual knees are hurting like Dad's was that night, you will help me climb the stairs and shut the rest of the world out behind me for a while. You also set the house on fire, but it's a spiritual fire. I gave you some things to think about fire, and then I gave you a separate sheet with a quote. And if you know me very well, you know that I'm kind of like sensitive these days about Bible verses, because I did learn so much and listen to it so much, and it was used, I think, to cause a lot of shame, and I don't know, I just have problems sometimes with going to the Bible. But this verse I think is really, really nice. The one about John, he's about to baptize, and he's about to be baptized, I think. Anyway, he says, I can baptize you with water, but someone is coming who is greater than me. I'm not even worthy to latch his shoes. And he will baptize you with the Holy Spirit and with fire. That's what gives me hope. We come through the fire, we find our new home. And I've got one more last little story. When I moved to South Carolina from Alabama, I left behind a lake house that I had rented. I had only been able to afford it for 1 year, and I really couldn't afford it then. But I rented it for a year, and it was one of the best years of my life. I was alone a lot, but I'm on this lake. Literally, I could walk out my door and be right over there is the lake. And I spent hours in a kayak and the lily pads, and it was at the end of the lake, so it was like my own lake. There was nobody there. And all this acreage, I was just responsible for mowing. So I would get out there and mow in this, electric mower that you can ride at night with the light on. It was really cool time. And I had blackberry bushes all around a spring, a natural spring. And I would go out there and I would pick blackberries. I would make blackberry pie, blackberry cobbler, blackberry muffins. It was just a beautiful, beautiful time. So when I left and I came here at first, I was living in a little mobile home. And I was missing my lake house. And I was feeling sorry for myself. I was looking back over my shoulder at what I had before. And one day I just went for a walk behind the trailer park. And to my astonishment, I saw more blackberry bushes than I had ever seen. Just filling the space in front of me for as far as I could see. And I thought, God has given me back my blackberry bushes. Not just a few, but 20 times what I had before. And all of a sudden, all of my good memories started coming back. All the things that I could be grateful for. And I was able to pray again a little bit. And to thank God for bringing me back a piece of my home. And I think that's the key. The home that we want, we can carry with us. in the form of the Spirit. Thank you for letting me share with you today. Yep, take my headset.
All right. Home can be a touchy subject. Because not everybody had a happy home. And not everybody has found a way to even create a happy home now. Home can be fraught with good and bad memories. But there's a home that we've never left. That's what A Course in Miracles always tells us. There's a home that none of us has ever left. And Tamara alluded to it. If we want to find that home that we've never left here in this bodily world, the closest we will ever come is in community. It is in that place where we find strength in and through one another. That really is the place we've never left, because we are all one. All minds are joined. And community is the closest we can get in this bodily plane to that home of eternity that we've never left. It's where we can realize our minds are joined, even if our bodies appear to be separate. And that is the strength in community. It's why we crave it. It's why we want it so much. It's why we feel lost without it. It's why we even build communities that aren't healthy. Gangs. The reason we have gangs is because they provide a sense of connection. And so we're always looking for community. But we're always challenged to find a healthy community. A community that connects you, not just to yourself, but to others and to the world around you in healthy ways. If you don't have a community, I invite you to come join us here at Jubilee Circle. We are always open and welcoming to anyone who seeks connection with themselves, with the holy, with the world around them in healthy ways. And so I invite you, as we go into meditation, where is your home? Where is your spirit? Where is your community? Do you need to widen it? Do you need to deepen it? I invite you to contemplate the home you have never left, that ultimate connection of yourself to God and to everyone and everything that you see. Breathe deeply. And as anyone who owns a home knows, takes resources to keep that home up. It takes support from the community. It takes support in time and talent. It takes support in money. And so if you are valuing this community, if it has been something and meant something to you, I invite you to give graciously, generously. You can pass that around. You can pass that around. You can give here in the building, of course. You can, even in the building, you can give online on your sheet, on your bulletin, even the one that you downloaded from our website. There are QR codes that you can point to, and you can give online if that is how you prefer, through PayPal or Venmo, or you can go to our jubileecircle.com, and there are links there that you can use to give, or you can send a check to Post Office Box 4611, Columbia, South Carolina 29240. And we are grateful for everyone who supports this community, who has supported us in the past, in the future, and supporting us now. Oh yeah. All right, so we are going to say goodbye to our folks on YouTube, and we're going to continue a discussion here in the building. And if you'd like to get in on the discussions, you're welcome to come join us sometime in the building, and you can do that. But as we say goodbye to the folks on video, we remember the words of Meister Eckhart that if the only prayer you ever say your entire life is thank you, that will be enough, because when we are living in gratitude, then we are walking in love in this world. And so go in peace this week, everyone who is watching us on YouTube, and we will see you next week when we can all say, oh yeah.